Hi, BrenTech here, where tech is made simple. So if you're using Microsoft PowerToys, then just to let you know that Microsoft has rolled out PowerToys version 0.98, which rolled out just a couple of hours ago. And this is quite a big release because it does include a new keyboard manager UX, a new command palette dock, which basically acts, for want of a better word, as a second taskbar that you can move around your screen using PowerToys, and a better cursor wrap. So just to go through the key highlights, there's a lot more taking place under the hood, but as to not make this video too long. Now, first of all, Microsoft says this release introduces a new editor experience for Keyboard Manager. So if we head into our Keyboard Manager quickly, Microsoft says the UI has been rebuilt from the ground up using WinUI 3, which makes it easier for Microsoft to maintain and improve going forward. Now you'll see here with Keyboard Manager, it's got a new setting. Try the new editor. Switch to the new editor. You can switch back at any time. If you toggle that on, you can open editor or use the shortcut. And as mentioned, here's the toggle to switch back to the classic editor if you'd like, but just to show you the new one. And now with WinUI 3, and there we go. So things looking a little bit more modern compared to how they used to, looking more like the look and feel of Windows 11. And Microsoft also says that the new editor provides a single unified view where you can now manage both single key and shortcut remapping. And I do think that this is a small yet significant move in the right direction if you are using the Keyboard Manager. And as mentioned, you can switch back to classic view. And there we go, where you can remap a key using the old user interface and so on. And here's a big one, which I've posted on previously, where using Command Palette, it introduces a new optional mode called Command Palette Dock that Microsoft says lets you keep your favorite commands and extensions always within reach. And when enabled via the Command Palette settings, the dock stays visible on your screen and provides quick access to the tools you use the most. So just to show you what this is all about, if we click on Settings, here you'll see a new feature called Dock, which is still in preview, so you can expect a couple of bugs. Click on that. Here we can enable the new dock. Default is at the top. And it's interesting that Microsoft with PowerToys can enable a so-called taskbar to move around your screen, but not with Windows 11. I thought that's interesting, but nonetheless, so you can enable it to the top, the left. We can change that from system settings to light and dark. Let's make it light so you can see that a bit better in the video. You can take that to the right, to the bottom, and place it back at the top. So you've got some options. You can also have the material, select the visual material. So you've got acrylic, transparent. So you've got a lot of options here, guys. I'm going to stick with acrylic. And you can even choose a background, accent color, custom color, or an image. So lots going on with this. And yeah, you can see CPU gives me memory. Looks like received data, sent data, GPU, and so on. Yeah, you've got a search. And the nice thing is you can customize this Command Palette dock to fit into your workflow. And Microsoft says that if you want even more functionality, you can check out the extension store. So here's extensions, and you can head over to the Microsoft store for additional Command Palette extensions. Just on a side note. And over and above the new Command Palette dock, Microsoft says that this release includes many additional improvements to Command Palette. Microsoft says that it's fixed a large number of bugs and added several new settings, including options to adjust window transparency, Preserve search text between activations and hide non-app results. So quite a lot going on with Command Palette. And then cursor wrap, which is a feature that Microsoft did roll out with a recent update, has also received several improvements in this release based on community feedback. Microsoft says the wrapping engine has been rewritten to better support complex multi-monitor layouts, making the behavior more reliable across different setups. Microsoft says it's also added a few new options, including the ability to disable cursor wrap when only a single monitor is connected. So for this, if we have a look here, activation and behavior, disable wrapping when using a single monitor. Now I'm using a single monitor on this device, so you can see wrap is disabled. If I uncheck that, you can see my cursor wraps around my monitor and my display. So I think this is a nice addition, because I think this is more useful on a multi-monitor setup than a single display. And over and above that, there's also a new activation mode that lets you wrap the cursor only when holding Control or Shift. So quite a lot going on with this cursor wrap as well. And then for always on top, for the always on top feature, which is a quick and easy way to pin windows on top, Microsoft says it's added a much requested improvement to always on top. In addition to the keyboard shortcut, you can now pin a window directly from the title bar by right-clicking it and selecting the always on top option. So here you'll see there's an option show always on top in the title bar context menu. Lets you turn always on top mode on or off from the Windows title bar right-click menu. Now I've tried this with a couple of apps and I'm not getting it to work. So maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe you'll have better luck than me, but basically you right click in the title bar and in this menu you should see a always on top, which just makes it easier using your mouse and keyboard, but I'm still not able to get that to work when I was fiddling around with the feature prior to posting. But as mentioned, that is listed as a new feature, which I do think if you are using the feature is a nice move. And Microsoft says you can also now adjust the transparency of a pinned window. And here you can see, here's the shortcuts here in this section of a pinned window using Control Shift and your plus and minus keys to increase or decrease the transparency. So quite a lot going on there with always on top as well. And guys, that's the key highlights. There are other fixes and changes taking place under the hood, but as to not make this video too drawn out, just focusing on those key highlights. So that's PowerToys version 0.98, which did roll out a couple of hours ago. So quite a lot going on with this latest release. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.